Good morning, students. In our last class, we discussed about the what are the different types of firing circuits are used for SCR. In our today's class, we are going to discuss about driving circuits for both MOSFET and IGBT. So, before going to study the circuits of the MOSFET, that means driving circuits of the MOSFET, we have to find the what are the basic requirements for the driving circuits of the MOSFET. So let us see what are the basic circuits of the basic requirement of the MOSFET driving circuit. So the basic requirements for the MOSFET driving circuit is, first one is the gate source input capacitance should be charged quickly. So why we are using this point means, so if the gate capacitance is charged quickly, then the starting time, that means on time of the MOSFET or IGBT, it takes very less time, and at the same time, by this fast charging we can reduce the losses. That means while we are switching on the SCR, there is some losses during the turn on time. This turn on time is reduced, it means indirectly we are also reducing the losses. Okay, no? So next point, second point, MOSFET turn-ons when gate source input capacitance is charged to sufficient levels. So we are using the capacitors in driving circuits. That capacitors we are used in these circuits, that must be designed for the sufficient levels. Sufficient level means how much of current is required to turn on the MOSFET. That current must be provided by these capacitors. Okay, now this is the one of the important point we have to remember. Okay, now so which type of capacitors we are used in this circuit means that capacitors must have the sufficient levels. That means it provides sufficient currents to turn on the MOSFET. This is the second important point. Next, third one, to turn off the MOSFET quickly, the negative gate current should be sufficiently high to discharge the gate source input capacitance. So here the another point is, we are using the capacitor. That capacitor have to produce the negative gate currents. So what is the capacitor produced the negative gate current? That current must be sufficiently high to discharge the gate source. Okay, now so what are the capacitor we are using in the driving circuit? That capacitor must have the sufficient levels. That means it contains sufficient negative currents to turn off the MOSFET. Okay, no? So these are the three important points we have to remember while designing the driving circuits of the MOSFET. So let's once again see the three important points. First one is the gate source input capacitance should be charged quickly. That means what are the capacitor we are using, that must be charged very quickly. Second one is MOSFET turn on when gate source input capacitors is charged to sufficient levels. That means what are the capacitor we are using, that capacitor must provide the sufficient currents to turn on the MOSFET. Next, third one is same point, what are the capacitor we are using, that capacitor must have to generate the negative gate current to turn off the MOSFET. Okay, no? So these are the three important points we have to remember. These points are the basic requirements for the drive circuit designing for the MOSFET. Okay, no? Next, let us see how the operation is done by using these gate circuits. So the gates once see the diagram, the gate drive is applied across the terminal A B. This is the terminal A B. Initially the resistor R1 is bypassed by C1 and fully drive voltage is applied to the gate. That means initially this capacitor act as a short circuit, so the entire current flows through the capacitor initially at the time of starting. After that the charges the gate source capacitance quickly. That means initially there is a large amount of current is passed through the capacitor. Why? Because this capacitor act as a short circuit at initial conditions. After that, within a very less span, this capacitor starts charging the current. Okay, na? So this capacitance should charge very quickly. As the capacitor C1 charges, the gate current reduces. That means what is the capacitor when this capacitor starts charging? See here totally two paths is there. One path is through capacitor and another part is through resistor. See here, totally two parts is there, paths is there. One path is through capacitor and one path is through resistor. Initially this capacitor act as a short circuited, so the total current flows through the capacitor C1. That is initial conditions. This is happened in very less span. Within short time the capacitor starts charging. So at that situation the current flows in two paths. So initially this SCR turn on. Why? Because the large currents are flows towards the gate. That currents are sufficient to turn on the MOSFET. Okay, now so this is the turn on process of the MOSFET. Then how can we turn off this MOSFET? So initially, because of the large current flowing through the capacitor, the MOSFET is turned on. How can we turn off this MOSFET? How can we turn off this MOSFET? Means the voltage VAB, the voltage VAB made 0. That means we are removing the voltage what we are applied initially at AB is removing. After that, capacitance voltage gate source in negative direction. So initially the capacitor is charged, that is applied to gate source in negative direction. Therefore charge on the gate source capacitance is removed quickly. So that means what are the charges present previously, that charges will be removed because of this negative current. Okay, no? So after that the C1 discharges through R1 and R2. This is the basic working process of the gate driving circuit of the MOSFET. So students, once again see here, I am repeating the working of the gate drive. So let us consider, initially we are applying the voltage across VAB. So initially this capacitor act as a short circuit. The short circuit time is very less. Okay, now so initially the high currents are flowing through the gate. Because of this high currents, this MOSFETs turn on. Okay, now so at initially this MOSFET is turns on. After that the capacitor starts charging. Okay, now so the current flowing through the MOSFET is reduced. Why? Because the current is charged in the capacitor C 1. So after that the MOSFET is to be turned on. How can we turn off this MOSFET? Means this VAB voltage becomes 0. After that this capacitance, what are the previously it stores some charge, that stores is applied in negative direction, therefore the charged and the gate source capacitance is removed quickly. Okay na? So the C1 discharges through R1 and remaining this R2 is also help to provide discharge path for the gate source capacitance. This is the basic operation of the driving circuit of MOSFET. Next, next driving circuit for IGBT and MOSFET. Up to now we are discussed about the only circuits, that means by using capacitors or resistors or diodes. We are seen the driving circuit by using these elements only, but in this circuit we are going to discuss about the ICs are used for the triggering of the MOSFETs and IGBTs. Here we are using 2125 IC. So see here, this is infrared IC. Why we are using this means we are using here light emitting diode. Okay na? So here we are using the light emitting diode, and by using this light emitting diode it provides the infrared rays. So this infrared rays used to trigger the circuit. Okay na? So initially by using this LED, the infrared rays is fall on the light emitted transistor. Okay na? So this transistor starts turn on, it sends the signals to the IC. So this IC contains totally 8 pins. In that first one is VCC, that means common coupling voltage, and second one is this is the input for the IC. Input means what we are applying to the IC by using these signals. Okay na? After that third pin is ERR. This is called error pin. Okay na? So this is the VSS, and this is the 8th pin is base voltage, 7th pin is output, and this is the controlling circuit, and this is the source voltage or load voltage. So these are total 8 pins we are using in 2525 IC. Okay na? This IC is mainly worked based on the infrared rays. So we are using the light emitting diodes, so or light emitting transistors. So this IC is having some internal programming for how to control all these things. Okay na? So this ICs is used for both BJT and MOSFET, IGBT and MOSFET. So this is the driving circuit for IGBT. Okay na? So here this IC2125 is high voltage fast switching MOS gate drive with single floating gate drive channel. This IC can use it to drive N channel power MOSFET or IGBT. So here another point we have to remember is overcurrent flowing through IGBT is detected by RS, or this is the CS. So this is the RS and this is the CS, source capacitance. Okay, so the error pin is also existed. It is used for identify the fault conditions. So by using IC chips also, by using ICs also, we can control the or trigger the IGBTs or MOSFETs. Okay, na? So these are the two important circuit used for the driving circuits of MOSFET and IGBTs. So students, next topic we are going to discuss is isolation of gate and base drives. So what is isolation? Isolation means nothing but the separation. So why we are using this isolation of gate and base drives? What is the necessity? Why have to we isolate the triggering circuits? I have to isolate means to protect the triggering circuits from the faults that occurred at main circuit. If you see this, there are so many faults are occurred in load side or internal of the circuit. Because of these faults, our triggering or pulse circuit may get damaged. That's why we have to isolate the triggering circuit. Okay, na? So for example, let's see here. This is the BJT circuit. So generally the triggering circuits are normal voltage maintains at 3 to 12 volts. Okay, na? But this is the triggering circuits. These triggering circuits are maintenance normal at 3 to 12 volts. Okay, na? These triggering circuits are connected to the BJTs or any other circuits. So these circuits are operated at 200 volts and above. So if there is a damage at collector and base, that means the high voltages get connected to the triggering circuit. See here, if there is any fault occurred in this gate side or emitter side, that is connected to the triggering circuit also. That this means the triggering circuit is damaged due to device damage. That means we are using the triggering circuit to turn on or turn off the MOSFETs or IGBTs. For suppose if there is any fault occurred on device side, that may be damages the triggering circuits. That's why we have to isolate the triggering circuit. Okay, na? So another reason we have to consider is, see here, this is the another circuit. Let us consider this is the another circuit. Here, see here, this T1 is driving between A and B, and T2 is drive in between C and D. If there is no electrical isolation, then point B and D may be short circuited. See here, if this and this point, that means this point D, if there is any short circuited in load side, there is a possibility of short circuiting of C and D. So this C and D is connected to the triggering circuit. So there may be a possibility of damaging the circuit. That's why we have to isolate the triggering circuit. Okay na? So just for protection purpose only we have to isolate the triggering circuit. When there is a fault occurred in load side, okay na, that means what are the device we are using, either IGBT or MOSFET or any other thing. If the fault occurred that side, that fault may damage the triggered circuit or triggering circuit. So that's why we have to isolate the triggering circuit. Then how can we isolate this triggering circuit? So generally this triggering circuit are isolated by using two methods. One is by using pulse transformer and second one is by using optocouplers. So by using pulse transfer we can isolate the triggering pulse, and second one is by using optocouples we can control the or isolate the triggering circuit. Let us see first one, isolation using pulse transformer. So see here, this is the diagram related to electrical isolation using pulse transformer. Pulse transformer has one primary, this is the primary, and one secondary windings. It is normally used for pulsed mode of triggering. That means here we are sending some pulse signal in primary side, that same signals is passed towards through the secondary. These transformers are not connected, that means this pulse transformer not connected electrically, it connected magnetically. Okay na? So see here, the circuit contains, by using this pulse transformer we are sending the pulse signal to the drive switch, that means BJT. So what is the signal we are sending in the primary side, same signal is sent to the secondary side of the transformer. Here transformer ratio is 1:1. So what are the pulse we are applied in the primary side, same pulse is generated in the secondary side. There is a no step up and no step down is occurred. Why? Because we are using the ratio 1:1. So what are the pulse we are applied in the primary side, same pulse is used in generated in the secondary side, and that generated pulse is applied to the gate. Because of this gate pulse, the BJT may turns on. So if there is any fault occurred in the this side, okay na, so it does not affect the pulse. Why? Because it is not connected directly, it is connected magnetically. Okay na, so it is not connected electrically. So because of this magnetical connection, there is a no effect on this pulse drive. Okay na, this is about the pulse transformer isolation. But see here, there are some advantages and some disadvantages. What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? So advantage of this pulse transformer is, pulse transfer does not need external power for this operation. That means here there is no need of any external pulse. And second advantage is it is very simple to use. This is the another advantages. First one is it does not need any external power operation, and second one is it is very simple to use. So these are the advantages of the pulse transformer. What about disadvantages of the pulse transformer? What are the disadvantages of this pulse transformers? Pulse transformer saturates at low frequencies, hence it is used for only high frequency. That means this isolated transformers are used only for high frequency operations only. For suppose if you want to use this pulse transformer in low frequency, there is a possibility of pulse transformer saturation, so it is not helpful for the low frequency operations. It is used only for high frequencies. And second one is due to magnetically coupled, the signal may be destroyed. See here, we are using the signals some situations, so that signals may get disturbed or disturbed because of this magnetic coupling. Okay na? These are the disadvantages of the isolated pulse transformer. Next, another isolation technique is by using optocouplers. So this is the basic circuit diagram for the optocoupler. Here we have to understand one thing is, in previous one, that means by using isolated pulse transformer, it is connected through magnetically. Okay na? Because of that magnetically coupling, there is a magnetic effect is there. That magnetic effect may disturb the signal. So to overcome that problem, here we are using the optocouplers. Optocoupler means here we are using the some infrared LEDs and photo transistor. See here we are using the LED infrared. Okay na? Infrared LED, and this is the photo transistor. Photo transistor means it input is, that means gate triggered by using infrared signals. So this is the basic circuit of the optocoupler isolation. This optocouplers mainly contains two things. One is diode, light emitting diode, and second one is photo transistors. By combining these two things, we are getting the optocouplers. Okay na? So this is the basic circuit diagram, that means basic circuit of the optocouplers. Let us see how this optocoupler is used in triggering circuit. So this is the MOSFET triggered circuit using optocoupler. So let us see the working of this optocoupler. So when signal is applied in infrared LED, it turns on, its lights fall on photo transistor. So when we are applying this supply to this thing, this LED start produce infrared rays that fall on the photo transistors. Okay na? When this light fall on the transistor starts conducting. Here we have to remember one thing is, this diode and this transistor does not connected electrically. Okay na? So there is no electrical connection between this LED and photo detector. So when this LED is on, the light falls on the this photo transistor, it turn on, and gate voltage is positive. Therefore the base of the transistor T1 is conducted to 0 volts through photo transistor. Due to this, T1 turns on. Therefore, the voltage VCC is applied to the gate of the MOSFET. Hence, the MOSFET turns on. When VG is equal to 0, that means this is switch off. There is a 0 voltage through photo transistors. Due to this, that means there is a no light fall on the photo transistor. So at that time the T1 turns off. Okay now, so this MOSFET gate voltage becomes 0. So this MOSFET gets turns off. Thus gate driving circuit using optocouplers. So once again I am repeating this thing. See here, first of all we are applying VG. Because of this applied voltage VG, this LED starts to produce infrared rays that falls on the photo transistor. Okay na? So because of this light, this photo transistor turns on and produce the gate signal to the transistor T1. Then the transistor starts turn on and it sends signal to the MOSFET. Okay na? For turn on the MOSFET. So hence the MOSFET is turned on. When we are turn off the MOSFET, at that situation this VG are consider as a 0. That means we are removing the voltage VG. When this is removing, there is a no production of the infrared from the LED. So this LED will be turned off. When this LED is turned off means there is a no signal flows through photo transistor to the transistor T1. So this transistor T1 turns off. This transistor T1 turns off means there is a no gate current flows to the MOSFET. So indirectly the MOSFET is going to be turned off. Okay na? So this is the entire process for the isolation of using optocouplers. Here we have to observe one thing is, see here, this photo LED and this photo transducer is not connected electrically. Just it is light falls. What is the light generated by the LED? That light falls on the photo transistor. Because of that light only this transistor turns on. This transistor sends the signal to the transistor T1. From that it sends the signal to the MOSFET. From that only this MOSFET is turns on. So there is no direct electrical connection between this diode and that means LED and photo detector. So if there is any fault occurred here, that means load side or transistor side, it does not affect the triggering circuit. Here we are using the triggering pulse. Okay na? So why? Because it does not connected electrically. So if there is any faults or rise in the circuit, that faults reaches up to this side only. It does not reach to this side. So enter this triggering pulse or triggering circuit is in safe zone. This is the process of isolating the triggering circuits. Okay na? So this is about the optocouplers. Let us see what are the advantages and disadvantages of this optocoupler. Optocoupler having two advantages. What are the advantage means? Very good response at low frequency. So it is very good response for low frequencies. So if you see here, the disadvantage, this is the disadvantages in pulse transformer. That means by using pulse transformer we are using only for high frequencies, so it is not used for low frequency. That disadvantages is overcome in optocoupler. And second one is compact and cheaper optocoupler devices are available. So in cost point of view, this optocoupler is very less cost. So next, what are the disadvantages? What are the disadvantages means? The optocoupler need external base voltaging for their operation. That means for if you observe the circuit, see here, for LED we need some external circuit to turn on and turn off. That is the one of the disadvantage. And second one is high frequency operation is poor. That means it does not operate for the high frequency response. So even though if you operate in high frequency, it provides very poor response. These are the disadvantages of the optocoupler. And where we are using these optocouplers, means in inverters, SMPS, choppers, AC drivers. Okay now, so these are the some of the places we are consider these as a applications for optocouplers. Okay now students, so this is about driving circuit of IGBT and MOSFET. And this isolation process is also very important for triggering circuit. Why? Because for designing purpose, this triggering circuit takes some time. So if there is any damage for the triggering circuit, it is a damage for entire circuit. Why? Because if there is a no pulse signal or no triggering circuit, operation of the entire circuit will be not possible. So for that purpose, isolation is also very important. So here isolations are done by using two. One is one is pulse transformer, and second one is by using optocouplers. Okay students, this is about today's class. In our next class, we are going to discuss about the protecting circuit. What are the different types of protecting circuits is there? We are going to discuss in our next class. Thank you students.